So if you're on this channel at all, you are probably here because you were interested in saving some money. So in this video, let's go over 20 tips on how you can lower your expenses. The first one is probably my favorite because this is the most life-changing piece of advice I ever got, and I wish I started applying it so much sooner. But the first tip is to plan your purchases. I know it sounds so basic and so simple, but it made a world of difference for me. So for example, fall's coming up. I don't have a jacket. Next thing you know, I'm cold. I didn't plan this in the budget, but now I need to go buy a jacket and maybe some gloves. So in order to truly apply this tip, it's really a matter of keeping track of what you have available in your household for you to use and what you will need in the future. And starting to take inventory of what I had and what I would need in the next few weeks and months made such a massive difference in my life. Tip number 2 is to pay off the full balance on your credit card every single month so that you're not paying interest. Here lately, I have found myself making excuses on this one and just paying the bare minimum and just not worrying about the rest right away. And I think part of the reason I found myself kind of justifying it is that the past couple times an interest rate charge has been added, it's only been like in the $3 to $5 range. And that's kind of when we trick ourselves into thinking, oh, it's such a small amount, it's whatever. Well, first of all, if it's money you don't have to be spending, then you shouldn't be spending it. But second of all, this is the second month in a row a charge like that has been added. If I continue down this path, that amount of money is going to go up. If I'm being responsible about paying this on time and making sure I'm paying the right amount each time, then I don't have to worry about these interest charges. Tip number 3 is to cut all unnecessary subscriptions. Now the key here is unnecessary. I think there are subscriptions out there that can save you money over time, so they might make a lot of sense. Or there may be a subscription that has a very unique purpose for your situation. But if there's any subscriptions you have that are unnecessary and you really want to be saving money, look at your subscriptions. And the thing is, if you're iffy about a subscription, most places you can just restart the subscription whenever you want to. Tip number 4 is to stop eating out. This is one I have definitely struggled with lately for a couple of reasons. For one thing, eating out is not just comfort food in terms of the taste, it's also just kind of a way of self-care that sort of helps me relax a little bit when I'm feeling very stressed. I don't have to worry about cleaning up, I don't have to worry about planning the meal in advance, I don't have to worry about doing all the work to cook it. It's really more just the fact that it makes my life easier than the fact that I wanted that particular item or I like that particular restaurant's environment. So if you struggle with eating out too, or eating out too much, I get it. I really, really do. But if you are serious about cutting your expenses and you are eating out consistently, that is really a great way to bring down your expenses. Preparing and eating your food at home will save you money in the long run. Tip number 5 goes hand in hand, which is plan your meals. So there have been a few phases I've been through where I've tried to be like, okay, I'm not going to eat out as much. I'm going to cook at home more, but I really would not stick to a plan. And basically, I ended up back in the same boat because I would spend all this money on groceries instead of eating out, but then half of the grocery money would be wasted because I didn't plan my meals properly to use things in time. And then, of course, I would just eat out anyway. So it really didn't save me anything. So while cutting back on eating out is very important, if you're not planning your purchases and being smart about your grocery spending, you can find that it's not really saving you quite as much as it would otherwise. Tip number 6 is to turn off everything in your house that is not in use. I have been slacking on this one, and I think again it's also just some of the personal things I'm going through. I'm very emotional lately. Perfect example, I took a nap earlier today. I wake up, the hallway light is on. There was no need for the hallway light to be on. I was going into my room and taking a nap in the middle of the day. I didn't need that light on. And I come out and I walk down the hall and I turn that light off, and it turns out I also left the light on in the kitchen and the office. None of those were in use. And I think I just was in my own little world. This was obviously not intentional, but these are the kind of things you want to think about. It will make a difference in your energy bill if you are conscious about how you are using energy in your home. Tip number 7 is to buy secondhand clothes. And don't get me wrong, I think when it comes to thrift stores or Goodwill or whatever your secondhand place of choice is, it is a little bit hit or miss. There have certainly been times where I have been looking for something that would be appropriate for something really specific or for work, and I just didn't quite find what I needed because the only thing that was available that would have otherwise worked just wasn't quite in good enough condition. People do sometimes donate things that are not in good quality. Tip number 8 is to buy store brands instead of name brands. This is another thing that's helped me save money on my groceries. Now, I will say every now and then I will find that the store brand is just not quite as good, and I just don't want to spend my money on it because I'm not going to use it. So sometimes it is better for me to spend the extra money on a store brand because I just like it better and I don't want to buy things I'm not going to eat. And for the typical average to family size container, I'm spending a couple dollars less. Tip number 9 is to shop the sales. If there is somewhere that you shop frequently, make sure you are on their email list. You're going to get notified when there's a sale coming up. Or if you prefer to regularly check the company's website, you could do that. And then, of course, there are always those seasonal sales that are predictable every single year. If you know there's something that you need coming up, but it's not urgent for right now, you might as well wait until that next sale comes along. Number 10, shop using coupons. And if where you're shopping now doesn't really have coupons regularly, shop around. Maybe there's somewhere else you could be shopping that does have coupons consistently. This is free savings for you if you're just willing to take the time to look up these coupons and see what you can use and apply it to your purchases. Tip number 11 is to plan your trips so that you're not going through gas too quickly. And I am not just talking about when you have this long road trip for a vacation or something. I mean like your day-to-day life. There are obviously going to be times where you have to drive farther than you typically have to take care of something that just needs to get done. But in your day-to-day life, your weekly errands, things of that nature, plan those trips together. Plan them in advance so you know exactly where you're going instead of wandering all over town. I know I used to be pretty bad about just driving for an extra 30 minutes with music playing as like a self-care, self-soothing type of thing. And don't get me wrong, if you've got the money, that's cool. But if you're trying to lower expenses and your errand trips are extremely random, you're going way more miles than you need to, you're taking drives just for the fun of it, that's gas money that you're using up that you don't have to be using up. Tip number 12 is to bring coffee or lunch from home instead of buying it on your way to work. I'm not a massive coffee drinker, but I will say anytime I work an opening shift, I like to get an iced latte and a breakfast sandwich. Now, I work morning shifts about once a week, so if I'm doing that once a week, the iced latte and the breakfast sandwich comes to about $12. That's $12 a week that I'm spending that I don't have to be if I just make some simple changes. I'm still going to be spending some money if I bring a breakfast sandwich or a coffee from home, but I could be looking at $5 or $6 a week instead of the 12. Tip number 13 is to reuse plastic shopping bags. Now, for some things or for some situations, this doesn't really make sense, and I get that. For me personally, I have got to scoop the litter box every single day, and once it's scooped, I want it out of the house. So reusing shopping bags that I'm naturally getting every week or every couple weeks seems a lot smarter to me than making an extra purchase for these small plastic bags to use on a daily basis. Tip 14 is to find cashback deals. Whether you are using Fetch or Ibotta or CoinOut or any of these other things, there are a lot of ways to get cash back on deals. Now, sometimes it is cash back that's cold hard cash that's put into your account. Sometimes it's in the form of a gift card. Sometimes it's in the form of a credit that you can only use at that store. So make sure anytime you take advantage of a cashback deal, you know exactly what it is that you're getting, because if it's not worth it to you, then it's not worth it to you. So if you have an opportunity to get some money back in your pocket, why not? Tip number 15 is to measure cleaning product usage. This is what I've only really started applying to my own life pretty recently. But there have been some things like washing dishes and washing laundry where I realized I was using more product than I needed to. And for each individual time that you do that, it's not going to seem like that big of a deal. But how frequently you have to spend money to replace these items that you're going to consistently use over the course of your life, that does add up and that does matter. And it does affect your overall expenses. Tip number 16 is to avoid browsing. Now, I will say I'm not that bad with online shopping. There have been some times, sure, where I've been browsing Amazon, didn't plan to get anything. Oh, I found 1 or 2 or 3 items that I really want. And I feel like part of the reason I don't get sucked into Amazon shopping too much is even if it's fast delivery, even if it is one of those items that you can get in like 2 to 3 days, part of me still kind of feels like, well, I'm not going to see this item for 3, 4, 5 days. Like, do I need it that bad? But when I am in a store and I know that I can just take this to the register and walk out with it and have that instant gratification of having that thing right away, that's when the temptation is actually more difficult for me to avoid. And the reality is, if you're not going into shops and going on the internet and just browsing at stuff just for the heck of it, you're not putting yourself in that situation to begin with. Browsing is for when you have money to shop with. And I get it, usually when I find myself doing this, it's because I'm killing some time. Tip number 17 is to track your expenses to find out where you are overspending. If you consistently budget and you review that budget at the end of each month or pay period or whatever method you use, you should have some knowledge of where your money is going. Tracking your expenses should be like the number one thing that you do. Because how are you going to improve where your money's going if you don't actually know where it's going? And even though I've been budgeting and reviewing those budgets and tracking my expenses for years now, every now and then there's still something I learn about my own habits or things that I forgot that I paid for. Tip number 18 is to get regular vehicle maintenance done on time. I know sometimes it feels so great to just not think about it. Oh, I'll take care of it next paycheck. Oh, I'll take care of it next month. I get it. It just feels like one of those things that you can put off. Now, things like oil changes are pretty predictable in terms of planning ahead for them. But when something comes up, you hear a strange noise, your car's acting a little bit funny. As inconvenient as it is, you have got to get it in the shop as quickly as possible. It might be a problem that can't wait till payday. It might be a problem that can't wait till next month. And this is exactly the situation that things like your emergency fund are for. It might be painful to deal with now. It might be frustrating. You might be at the end of your rope. You might have to go to the car shop and then go home and completely rethink your budget when you just did your budget. I get it. It's frustrating. But when you put off problems that could be very, very expensive, it may end up costing you more in the long run. Tip number 19 is to regularly participate in no-spend challenges. I've only done a few no-spend challenges. Basically, you're taking a time period, could be a day, could be a week, could be a month, could be a pay period, and you're saying, I'm not going to spend any money. And that is my challenge. You just have to get really specific about what your rules are for this no-spend challenge. For me, I would basically set up a no-spend challenge this way. I would take a certain time period and go, okay, what's a time period coming up where I am not going to have to worry about paying any bills or buying anything, and I don't need to do any extra spending? This is kind of a way of cutting back on those little here and there expenses that you don't really plan in advance, and they're just kind of on a whim. And it might not sound like much, but if you set up these no-spend challenges and you are consistent in practicing them, over time it does change some of your habits. And tip number 20 is to shop around for better car insurance. This is definitely on my to-do list this month. I am paying $380 a month for car insurance. In my particular case, yes, I am 35 years old and I have plenty of experience driving, but I was in a fatal car accident a couple of years ago, and that made my car insurance shoot up. As it was kind of coming back down is when I actually got the settlement, and then it shot back up again because those things impact your car insurance rates. But it's been long enough at this point, I feel like I could probably find something similar, or possibly talk to the car insurance company I'm with now and see if I can negotiate a better deal, maybe take a few things off to make it a little bit more affordable, because $380 a month is quite ridiculous. So leave a comment if you are currently applying any of these tips and if you have found them helpful to lowering your expenses. And let me know in the comments if you have any tips of your own.